I'm Richard Gage. I'm an architect, and I've started the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. I've been an architect for 20 years, and I've worked in most types of building construction, from residential, commercial, office, retail, you name it. I'm currently working on a large project in Nevada with over 360,000 square feet of high-rise office space and 1 million square feet of retail, including a couple of parking garages, all in all over about 1,200 tons of steel framing. I was on my way to a construction site when I heard on the radio David Ray Griffin being interviewed. I had never heard anything about the World Trade Center other than the official story, and what I heard from him being interviewed on KPFA in Berkeley, California, was shocking to me. I heard evidence of controlled demolition, and I had to pull over and listen to the rest of this interview. He was talking about beams being hurled 500 feet laterally, concrete being pulverized, no stacks of 110 floors at the bottom of the World Trade Center. It went on and on and on, including sounds and sights of explosions heard by 118 fire and other first responders. I was moved to find out if this is true or not, and over the last 14 months I determined that this is indeed true, and it changed my world, turned it upside down, in fact, inspiring me to found the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth.
In your quest over that year plus to investigate the claims of David Ray Griffin, was it a gradual realizing that the official story was a fraud, or did it finally, was there a flashpoint where you just, then all the pieces came together?
I'd have to say it was pretty quick, because everything made sense. There's no part of the official story that made sense. As I reread the official story in light of the evidence for controlled demolition, it fell together pretty rapidly, and I knew what I had to do within a couple of weeks. It just came to me. We had pilots for 9/11 Truth. We have scholars for 9/11 Truth. I said, where are the architects and engineers? Who's pulling them together? There was nobody. So I founded the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. We had one. I was the first one. Then we had the second one. Now we have 160 altogether. And within 1 year, we'll have 1,000. The first presentation that I gave to the firm that I worked for, of 15 architects, almost all of whom were skeptical. I would say 14 out of 15 signed up. So that got me to 16 architects. When architects and engineers see this information, they can't not agree with most of it. Some don't agree with all of it, but they're moved. And 14 of these signed up to call upon Congress to demand a new investigation of the events of 9/11, an investigation that's unimpeachable and with subpoena power.
How important is Kevin Ryan's story early on when he becomes aware in his own firm that they've done a secret study and found that the official story doesn't hold up and he's told to shut up? Can you just walk through in a nutshell the Kevin Ryan story?
Kevin Ryan's a whistleblower at UL. He exposed to the public the fact that UL was hired by NIST to perform a series of 4 tests with varying degrees of fireproofing of the actual steel structure that was actually in the World Trade Center. A 35-foot span of floor trusses with 4-inch concrete over metal decking. And now, the tests were, what he showed us was that the UL tested this with 2,000 degrees of heat underneath these steel trusses and twice the known amount of loading on top. And guess what? The structure only sagged a couple, 2 or 3 inches. And NIST turned around, threw that test out the window, and used a 42-inch sag. Now, why did they do this? Probably to try to prove their effort that the sagging floor trusses pulled in the columns, and that's their overall theory, the column failure theory.
Could that cause the shattering and the beams being ejected hundreds of yards? Could that cause the pulverizing of the concrete? If we had a pancake, we'd have this big stack of concrete at the bottom, but we'll walk through all that.
Yeah, good.
Can you tell us about some of the other prominent engineering and architectural people that are now speaking out against the official story?
Most recently, we had Dr. Quintier, the former chief of NIST's Fire Science Division, calling for an independent review of the World Trade Center investigation. Now, this is no small fry. This gentleman is halfway to realizing that these buildings were demolished himself. But what he notes particularly is the deficits in the NIST review, and says that we need a complete new review. He calls for them to be unarchived, made public, and to get to obtain a new investigation. We also have Joel Hirschhorn, a PhD who served 12 years as senior staff member, Congressional Office of Technology Assessment. He's calling for a new independent 9/11 investigation, saying, first, let the technical truth emerge. Then, if necessary, cope with the inevitable political conspiracy and other questions. What we have to get down to is the science, and once you get to the science, it's indisputable. The official story is so full of non-science, of myth, of fable, that people are waking up left and right. For instance, Lynn Margolis, PhD, member of the National Academy of Sciences and world-renowned scientist, characterizes the official account of 9/11 as a fraud and is calling for a new investigation. She says, I suggest that those of us who are aware and concerned demand that the glaring, erroneous official account of 9/11 be dismissed as fraud and a new, thorough, unimpeachable investigation be undertaken. Next, we have a member of AE 9/11 Truth, J. Marks Ayers, former member of the National Institute of Sciences Building Safety Council and former member of the California Seismic Safety Council, calling for a new investigation. He says it's a rallying cry for all building design experts to speak out.
Is this the way Professor Jones and many others have described this, and it really fits the bill for all other scientific controversies we've seen, like when they got mad at Copernicus for saying that the world was really round, and then Galileo saying that the Earth orbited the sun, not the sun the Earth. And then for a while, the government and the media and the church at the time were able to suppress them. But then very soon it creates a debate scientifically that then verifies their discoveries. But you guys aren't even fighting over really new scientific laws. You're fighting for what's known about scientific laws and how buildings fall. You want any comments just in the whole scientific debate? Or?
You framed that well. What we're talking about is science here. Science is as old as Newton and prior. When we have a group of scientists, engineers, and architects and scholars, such as assembled by the various groups, the 9/11 Truth groups, Scholars for 9/11 Truth, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, soon Scientists for 9/11 Truth, we have a body of evidence based on a set of scientific principles that we all agree on. So real soon here, it's going to turn over the official story, which has been proven to be not based on sets of scientific principles, but political manipulation of science.